and welcome to Year 2 Phonics. It's Zana and I'm here to work with you today on all the different jobs of Y. We are looking at the grapheme Y and all the different phonemes it can make and exploring some words with that Y grapheme making different phonemes in there. So it's a vocabulary focus today. Let's have a look at all the different jobs of Y. Let's sort out what Y can do in words. It makes lots of different sounds and has lots of jobs. It's a very, very busy letter. We're going to explore some of those words today and see what they mean, find out a bit more about them, and let's find out more about what that Y can do. So I've got some little definitions here about what Y can do. We're going to have a look at where it fits in its jobs. So this says Y might be a consonant, usually at the beginning of words. It's when it makes the Y sound. Oh, that would be Y as in yo-yo. I'm going to stick that up there. So Y can be a consonant, usually at the beginning of words. Makes its Y sound. Let's have a look at another job of Y. Usually at the end of one-syllable words. Can you remember what sound Y makes at the end of one-syllable words? Happy. No, that's a two-syllable word. Cry. One syllable. What's that Y making in there? I. So Y makes I at the end of a one-syllable word, usually. It can be in the middle of a word if it's a compound word, perhaps. What's another job that Y does? Y can be a long sound with the letter E in a few words, a split digraph. Y with E as in tire. It's making the I sound. So it's a long vowel sound with the letter E. And it's only in a few words where it's with the Y, like tire, type, not very many of them, hype. Let's see what other jobs Y. We've got two more jobs of Y to fill in. Y can be a short vowel in a few words. Short vowel. It, a, o, e, a. Must be an it, because it makes I, which is the long sound, so it must be it, like in pyramid. There we go. So Y can make an it sound in a few words. The last job of Y is usually at the end of multi-syllable words. That's when it makes its long sound E, like in happy. What a busy letter Y is. Look at all the jobs. So it makes Y in yo-yo, it makes E in happy, it makes I in cry, it makes it in pyramid, and in tire, it works as a split vowel and makes an I sound as well. I told you Y was a very busy letter, didn't I? Let's investigate some words now that have Y doing some of its different jobs. Some of these will be words you've heard, some of them will be new to you. Let's have a look. Our first word is spry. Y making I at the end of a short word. Spry means lively or active. Look at these people. They're old, but they're jumping around and they're very lively and spry, aren't they? The next word is ply. Ply can have two different meanings. Ply can be a verb, which means to bend or shape or work with something, like that person is with the clay. They are plying it. Or ply can mean a layer or fold. You might have heard of plywood, or you might have 3-ply toilet paper at home. It means it's got 3 layers. It's a ply. Here's another one. Y is not making I this time. It's making an E sound in injury. An injury means damage to your body. For example, a cut, a bruise, or a broken bone. That's an injury. You might say, I've hurt myself when you've got an injury. Here's Y making E again in canopy. A canopy is a covering or a protection over the top of something, like the trees and a shelter. So you might have a canopy in the forest of all the leaves. Here's that split one with the Y making I. Analyse. If you analyse something, it means you look carefully at it to understand more about it. So you analyse. Like this scientist here. She's analysing the contents of that beaker, having a really good look at it, checking what it is. Now, last word where we've got Y making an it sound, like in pyramid, is in system, like in the solar system. A system is a set of things that work together as part of an interconnecting network. It means they all connect together and work together as a system. So if one part of it didn't work, the whole thing would probably stop. So the solar system you might have heard of. So you've learned a little bit about those words. Now I'm going to see what you actually remember and whether you can use those words. So we've got some questions for you. But what I'd like you to do is to pause the screen, have a read of the sentences and see if you can put the right word into the sentence to make sure it makes sense. So they're all the words we've just learnt and just found out the definitions of. So we've got spry. Remember that means lively or active. Canopy, that's shade or shelter over the top of something. Injury, when you're hurt. Analyse, to look really carefully at something. And ply, which can mean layers or folds of something, or it can mean to bend and shape and work something. So have a read of the sentences and see if you can work out which word goes into the missing spot. When you're ready, come back and we'll go through the answers. How did you go? While you were gone, I popped in all the answers. Do you want to check them with me? Let's go. I hope you wrote the whole sentence as you did it as well. Excellent. Okay, let's read them together. I can't run on sports day due to my leg injury. I hurt myself, I can't run. My dad likes to use 3-ply toilet paper. He likes the one that's got 3 layers on it. It's nice and soft. We sat under the forest canopy for our picnic. Maybe it was a hot day and that canopy just gave us a beautiful bit of shade. He was amazingly spry for a man of 80. So usually we'd think someone who was 80 years old, they're really old and they would be a little bit slow and not very active and lively. So he was actually really quite spry. He was really lively. She had to analyse the contents of the glass beaker. Remember that glass beaker in the picture? It's like a special little container that scientists use so that they can see inside and work out what's in it. Makes it easy for them to analyse what's in there. How did you go? If you got any wrong, that's okay. Just rewrite the sentence, have a read through, and it'll help you understand the meaning of that word for next time as well. Great job. Okay, we've done a little for some words. If we're going to learn, we need to do lots of words, lots of time. So we've got some other words to have a look at now. We're going to use some of these words and see if we can think of some synonyms for them. Can you remember what synonym was? A synonym is a word that means almost the same. It's a word that's very similar. So we're going to put some things up here for you to have a look at. Okay, so all of the words except for youth we have done today. So youth means someone young, all right, like a child is a youth. So we've got youth with the Y making E. We've got canopy with the Y making E. We've got spry with the Y making I. We've got injury with Y making E. And we've got system with Y making I. Now, up the top here, in this grid, there are a whole lot of other words and they are all synonyms for these words in red. So what you need to do is rule up a grid, copy the words, 1 to 5, you've got 5 columns, copy the words at the top, and then you're going to see if you can sort these words into the columns where they fit, where they are synonyms. So for example, I'll do one with you, okay? Let's have a look at athletic. Athletic. If you are athletic, does it mean that you are a youth? Might. Does it mean you're a canopy? No, you're not a shade if you're athletic, are you? Spry. Ooh, what does spry mean? It means lively or athletic. Ooh, or athletic. There it is. So athletic is another word for spry. So I'm going to write that one in there. And I'm going to look really carefully as I'm writing at the spelling to make sure that I spell it right. Athletic. If you were spry, you might also be described as athletic. See how you go. I'm going to put a little cross through that one to know that I've done it. Makes it a bit easier as I get along. Because if there's some that are tricky and you leave them till the end, there might not be as many choices, so it might help you work out what they mean. So the words we've got are arbour, arrangement, young, sprain, organisation, sunshade, trauma, junior and lively. They are tricky. Have a go, and when we come back, you can check them. So pause the video, have a go, come back to check your answers. How did you go? It was pretty tricky. So C, I reckon if you got at least 6 of them right, you were doing really, really well. If you got all of them right, you are a superstar. You know your words. Let's see how you went, because there were a couple that we put in there to maybe trick you a little bit. So youth. Other synonyms for youth could be young or junior. They both mean youth or youthful. Canopy. Now remember, a canopy was that bit that kind of went over the top of something. So you might have got sunshade. So you have like the canopy over your playground perhaps at school or your local park. But arbour's a little bit more tricky. So an arbour is kind of where groups of trees meet together and they create that canopy along the way. It's usually a walkway. You usually can walk through an arbour. It's like a path covered in beautiful shady trees. So that one might have been the trickiest one. I wonder if you left that one to last. And we've got spry. Remember spry, we did athletic already, and lively, full of life. Injury. You might have had a sprain before, so you know that a sprain was an injury. Or trauma. Remember, trauma was when something really bad happened and we got hurt and it was like caused us all sorts of trouble. Trauma. And then system. So another word for a system could be an arrangement. So the solar system is an arrangement of planets. Or an organisation. So it can be an organisation of the planets. A system. Solar system. How did you go? Check them. If you didn't get them, that's okay. Have a good look at them and just sort of say them to yourself and see, make sure you understand why the words are there and how they are synonyms of each other. They mean a very similar thing. Great words to include in your writing. Guess what? You have done the hard work today. It is time to do our review. What was it we were doing today? That's right. We were looking at all the different jobs of why. If I take this off, I'm going to put back up all our jobs of why, so we can just get one more look at them. Because remember, why was such a busy letter. It did so many things. Who knew when you first learnt in reception that why made you that it was going to do so many more things? So here we go. So remember, why can make y like in yo-yo. Consonant, usually at the beginning of a word. Y in a 2-syllable word at the end makes E like in happy. Y at the end of a short word will say I as in cry. Y in the middle of a word, a few words, might say it like in pyramid or system. And we've got Y as a split vowel where it's making the long I sound like in tire. Very, very busy letter. So when you see Y, you have to have a look around and see what other jobs it might be doing. Is it taking the place of a vowel or is it a consonant? And it's actually a vowel sound more than it's a consonant sound in words. So it's a tricky letter. Your independent task for today, if you choose to do it, which I hope you will, you're going to take on your task. Your task today is to sort some words with jobs of Y. So it gives you a look at some more words that have Y doing different jobs. So we want you to read all these words aloud. I'll do them with you really quickly. Gymnastics, reply, yellow, multiply, history, yes, system, symbol, spry, yogurt, fantasy, injury, canopy. We've seen some of them already this lesson, but not all of them. Read them aloud and then listen carefully for the sound that that letter Y is making. What job is it doing in that word? And then we'd like you to sort them into the correct column. We've given you the example words at the top so you can check. So we've got Y like yo-yo, I like cry, E like happy, or it like pyramid. So I want you to write the words in there. And then it says to select 3 words to write into a sentence. That's your task for today. So you must listen carefully because they all look like Y, but they don't all sound the same, do they? We learnt that today, that it sounds lots of different ways. So read it, listen carefully. You might even want to put a little highlight under the Y so you can really focus about what sound it's making in the word before you sort it. That might help you. Good job today with all your work. That Y is so busy. It's making you busy now too, I bet, when you go do your independent task. You have done a fantastic job. Have fun with your independent